are back here at Shacknews 2022 Game of the Year deliberations, and this time we're getting down, we're getting funky, because this is the best music category. That's right. Music, of course, can be extremely iconic in a video game. Everybody knows the Super Mario Brothers World 1-1 music, just as an example. Soundtracks often get embedded into your head and stuck with you forever because you hear them over and over and over again, especially if you're not getting good. So we are here to celebrate the music that you want stuck in your head. So with that, we have a lot of different nominations. Why don't we get right into it? What do you all say? How does that sound? David, should we set the Elden Ring timer?
If you want, yeah, you can set that Elden Ring timer.
All right.
Because Blake, I'm so damn good at Elden Ring that I would beat all the bosses whose soundtracks I love in less than 10 minutes combined. That's how good at Elden Ring I am.
Yeah, so you really haven't heard the music then, have you?
Just glimpses before I crush them. Like, no, in all seriousness, I think that From Software has upped their game with every score since Demon Souls, especially since they went orchestrated with I don't remember if they'd done it from the beginning, but I remember Bloodborne being a high point. Just loving the score in that game, and it's just been better and better ever since. I love the epic music that just swells as the moment you walk through a boss fog gate and that life bar appears, the music hits, and you just know it's on. I'll never fail to get chills from that. I think Sam could probably speak to it better than I could. He reviewed the game. But yeah, Sam, add on. Let's keep the clock ticking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could speak to it better than you could, sir, but you're totally right. There's something to be said about the music of a boss fight in a Souls game, especially Elden Ring, elevating the heart rate as your hands shake, as the health bar dwindles down. You're like, this music's getting a little bit too intense. I don't know if I can stay the course. But more than the intense moments, it's the moments in between the combat that really shine in Elden Ring as well. For me, a piece of music that sticks in my mind is the music in the subterranean area. I find it creepy and unsettling and reminiscent of 2001: A Space Odyssey. And it makes me feel extremely uncomfortable as I'm exploring those areas, and the hairs on the back of my neck are starting to stand up in this creepy location. And the whole game is just full of these moments, whether it's high octane adrenaline pumping or some other emotion that you're feeling, creepiness, or just roaming around the lands between on torrent and looking at what you can find.
Yeah, I was going to say that's probably my favorite score is when you're just in the kind of wilderness overworld areas roaming. It has the same sort of adventurous, whimsical feel that Breath of the Wild gave me when I was just kind of exploring, adventuring, doing whatever it is you want to do minute to minute. Elden Ring really nailed that. And I kind of default to the boss music because before this, in Souls games, that was when you heard music. It was just during boss fights. The rest was all ambient sound, which is great. And that's still, ambient noise is still great in Elden Ring, but just the whimsical soundtrack while you're out adventuring, or to Sam's point, whether it's eerier, creepier, depending on where you are, it's just well done across the board. It's a great score.
Yeah, I guess I'll add to that because I did choose Elden Ring too. I mean, obviously the boss fights have their own sounds which you get used to after fighting over and over again. But it's also something to say when you're fighting bosses with friends and stuff like that. I feel like we all kind of share that moment where there's these epic soundscapes coming out of it, and they really care about their music in that end. I know that FromSoft sells vinyls and stuff like that, but I got a nice copy of the soundtrack with the collector's edition. It sounds great, even when I'm listening to it while working, even if it might get me a little too hyped up.
I think there's something to be said about the fact that even when I load up the game, I will sit on the title screen to hear that epic score as it clashes to its climactic point. And yeah, few games can keep me locked on that title screen just to hear the music.
Well, an excellent nomination. But I'm curious, how does it ever shred? Does it ever get like totally brutal and like heavy metal and like got like some like killer like metal vocal, like just wailing?
Fighting against Mogwin is pretty metal. No,
But I mean,
It
is someone
is.
like being like, "Rah, fucking
Oh, just me as I'm
metal,"
screaming
over it?
against the
Okay.
bosses.
Sam and Denny and I, the only wailing we do is wailing on those bosses. Blake.
Oh, that's unfortunate to hear because Metal Hellsinger had like a veritable who's who, a hodgepodge, a cornucopia of metal vocalists, in order to scream and wail along with you as you beat up demons. That's why it's my nomination. This soundtrack just freaking shreds. It's so good. It's so heavy and brutal. Morgan, I know you really got into it as well, right?
I mean, it's got so many incredible people. I was surprised when they were like revealing who's on that list. You have Randy from Lamb of God, you have Serge from System of a Down, like just incredible soundtrack for a video game. Just wonderful.
Yeah. Did you have the lead singer from System of a Down in Elden Ring? Just making sure. I'm just making
No,
sure.
they know.
They don't know. Okay. There
I
you
was going to
go.
ask a question, I hope I'm not misremembering, Morgan. Blake, you might know too. Didn't Metal Hellsinger actually put on a concert with all the bands and the acts that were in the game? That's kind of cool.
They did in Gamescom, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
super cool. Like, I think that's really neat that like you have a lineup of artists producing music for your game that is like on that level that you can just roll them out as a concert. That's pretty cool.
I did
Yeah.
I did a trailer for that, Bill, and they didn't use it. They did not like it, so they.
Oh, well, that's neither here nor there. Although maybe a little bit of bias is showing.
Little.
But the other cool thing is like they were really concerned with like DMCA takedowns, which is why they did a completely original like soundtrack collaboration with all these artists, as opposed to just getting like pre-made tracks that were already, ASCAP or BMI, so that like people could play these online and live stream them and record them and not get hit by the different platforms for having unlicensed music. Which that's really smart. That's a really smart move. Also, it's like I think it's probably the game that the soundtrack is most heavily integrated into the actual game itself here. As far as our nominations go this year, like everything you're doing is tied to the soundtrack, and the soundtrack ascends and descends based upon your ability and how you're doing in the game. And I mean, obviously, you can set things on easy if you just want to rock out and stuff like that. But like no other game in that is nominated in this category does the music and the soundtrack actually play directly into the game itself. There you go. Unless anyone else has anything other about Metal Hellsinger to say, I think we can move on to the next nomination. Greg, who are you going to nominate?
Oh well, I'll die on this. I'm gonna die on this bet. I'm gonna keep nominating until I win something. Just as the Ghostbusters Spirit Unleashed, I had some insight on the music process on how they used the stuff, and the same thing what Blake says. Like they were worried about copyright DMCA takedown, so they didn't want to do anything from Paul Bernstein or Ghostbusters 2 because they had seen in the 09 game that still gets flagged. It's all covers in the 09 game, but it gets flagged by copyright and strikes. So they wanted to do something completely original and unique, but they took it away that was. They did it in a way that was very creative, where they took all the same instruments that they used in the original Ghostbusters films and used them. In some cases, the actual original instruments. They hired one of their keyboardists was one of the original people that worked on the 84 film with the same electronic keyboard they used on the 84 film. And they all recorded it in Abbey Road Studios in the UK. And also, I mean, any soundtrack that uses a theremin well is good in my book. That's an instrument you don't see very often, and they use it in this too. And it has all those beats that you'd expect in a Ghostbusters movie. The kind of like instruments and themes, but without using anything from the actual films, which I think can be even more challenging because it can be a forgettable soundtrack. But it sounds great. It's indicative of Afterlife and Ghostbusters '84 and Ghostbusters 2. And I feel like a lot of time and effort went into making a really unique soundtrack that was different, but still held what Ghostbusters was.
All right, didn't they license a couple songs though?
The only song that was officially licensed was the Ray Parker Jr. song.
I mean, you got to have the theme song.
Yeah, it's a kind
Like,
of standard,
that's just yeah, too tied into the franchise not to have. There you go. All right, another Ghostastic nomination from Greg. Who else would like to throw a nomination out?
Yeah, Sonic Frontiers. I love the soundtrack to this game. It's probably one of my favorite things I've listened to all year. It's there's like it's kind of eclectic in its moods because you have the overworld exploration themes where like it's kind of soft and quiet and chill and ambient, and then you have like the cyberworld themes which like are just like electronica, techno, rock, and do a great job of like keeping the heart rate up as you're going through these levels. And of course, like for the big moments of Sonic, I don't think there's any franchise of game that is even close to matched when it comes to the tier of butt rock that Sonic puts out. And I say that like unironically. I appreciate it because it is such a mood that is very specific to Sonic and works so well with it.
Man.
It's just a solid variety of music throughout this game that captures so many moods and like lows and highs and in betweens. It does it all very well.
You know, I honestly feel like Sonic music has like consistently been some of the best soundtracks in video game history since the first Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, okay, first like just Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles, funky as hell, right? Just a lot of like jazz influence, like, you know, groove and stuff that you didn't really hear too much in video games at the time. And that's because the composer who worked on that had like J-pop roots, right? He was in like a world famous J-pop band. And I feel like it's just continued from there. I loved Sonic Boom on Sonic CD. Sonic Adventure, what is it? Follow Me? Is that the name of the song?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so and then like in Sonic Frontiers, when you get to that first boss fight, you go supersonic and like the like Japanese like punk like pop like kicks in. You're just like, oh man, that's classic Sonic right there. It really is. The battle engagement music too, not just like the boss fights, but like some of those mini bosses that you engage with is really good. I don't know. Sonic just consistently top-notch soundtracks for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone else want to give Sonic for the next nomination? Donovan, I think this is your nomination, if I recall correctly. Is it not? Maybe it's not. Whose nomination is this? No, it's Steve's. I'm sorry. Forget it, Donovan. Get out of here, Donovan.
Here's my out of left field moment. All right, I'm nominating Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for best music. I love music in Pokemon games, and I think Pokemon Scarlet has some great songs. The battle lobby theme I can listen to for hours. That nice accordion sound, it just sounds fantastic. The test theme makes it sound like it's part like rah-rah high school pep rally, some shit's gonna go down after you push olives into a box or something stupid like that. It gets you, it's like part like that. Wandering around Paldea it's like each area has a different theme, and the Pokemon Company never gives different themes for different areas, and then they change it up pretty much every time, a different battle theme for every area. The Team Star fights has some good guitar riffs, some pretty cool stuff like that. Even though they're a waste of time, the fights, because I was so over leveled with it, but they get you ready to fight them. And let's see what else. I think the music's pretty good. I don't know if it's gonna hold up to the other nominees, but this is gonna be my I die on this sword moment.
All right, here's my one question for you, Steve. Do they have the Pokemon rap in
They
the
do
game?
not have the Pokemon
God
rap.
no.
Overruled. Sorry, thrown
They
out.
should have the Pokemon rap, but it would take like an hour and a half because they have like not 1,000 Pokemon now.
Yeah.
All right.
I think
One
the
thing
Pokemon
they-
rat can stay where it is.
One thing they do have in lieu of the Pokemon rap is the creator of Undertale and Deltarune making music for the
Toby
battles
Fox,
in this
yeah.
game. Toby
Sure,
Fox knocked it out of the fucking park on the raid theme and a few of the. I think he did the some of the gym battle themes too.
I think so.
Like-
yeah.
And just like you could, I've played the hell out of Undertale and Deltarune to the point where like I can recognize Toby's signature style, and it's so pleasant whenever it comes in. Plus I agree with Steve. Like catching Pokemon in that game is so relaxing to the music that they've given to the regions, and I love that they changed the music depending on what region you're in.
Yeah, to Steve's point too, it's really easy to crutch on like past games to like just do a same theme or the same stylistic theme, just to, like a slight remix of it, which they did for years. But every single time there's a new generation, they redo everything. You know, it's brand new battle theme, brand new trainer theme, brand new gym battle theme. Instead of just like, oh well, this will be the gym battle theme in. But the one was before Sun and Moon, but it's gonna be slightly different. Like they could have easily done that, and it would have been fine. But they go the extra mile. Like I will say that I did enjoy the music when I was looking for music to cover Donovan's review for Violet. It was cool to hear those themes be unique and different and new. Most importantly, new.
All right. Did anyone else want to say anything about Pokemon? Very good. Okay, so this is interesting. I actually have an honorable mention. I'm not really an honorable mention fella, but one game I really had to bring up, and I would be remiss if I didn't, and that's Splatoon 3. This soundtrack is punk as fuck. The music that plays in the battles and stuff like that, I love it. It totally reminds me of a lot of like late 90s pop punk stuff, like this, or like a little like even like a little Slater Kenny, things like that, of that nature. And I don't know, does anyone else like try and figure out lyrics to those songs as they're playing? Because it's all in like the like squid gibberish, you know. But yeah, I'm always trying to like put lyrics to it or come up with something or figure out what I think they're talking about. I think it's mostly about crushing the patriarchy and dismantling capitalism, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah, music
fair.
has always been such an integral part of Splatoon's DNA. I mean, you can't even take that away from them because they literally make a new pop idol group for each game that goes on tour and does shows with the Splatoon music. I love that.
It's pretty baller. They actually like tour Japan, like in real life?
They've
Sure.
done they do a ton of Splatoon musical concerts, and then they use those characters to create a digital show each time. It's so fun.
Oh my god, we got to do this. We got to go to one of these. I don't know where it is or how, but we're field trip, everybody.
I have to link you a YouTube video after this debate, Blake. You'll love it.
I'm gonna flip my shit, aren't I? All right, I'm ready to. I'm excited about it, but I'm even more excited about voting right now. So let's vote. Steve, I'm gonna start off with you, because I forgot to get your vote last time, and I'm very sorry.
That's good. I'm going with Pokemon. That's what I'm voting for.
Pokemon. You want to be the very best, like no one ever
do
was.
wanna
Can
be
you
the
do the
best.
Poke Rap? Can you do it,
I
Steve?
can do some of the original one, but after that, I can't do it.
Not the whole thing.
No, not the whole thing.
If you could have done the whole thing, you might have gotten my vote. Instead, there's going to be a Pokemon game next year. Just start practicing now. David.
Blake, when you were listing off how big a fan you were of the Sonic game soundtracks, you said you love Sonic Boom. I question that. If you love Sonic Boom, why is your Honda so afraid of my guile? But my vote is Elden Ring, Blake.
Look, those are two different video games, David, and
There's
we'll
three.
see
I
who's.
talked about Sonic Boom. I talked about Street Fighter
Look.
2. I talked about Elden Ring.
All right, we're gonna see who's afraid of what, buddy. That's all I'm saying. Street Fighter 6 ain't that far away. Ain't that far away. I've been doing.
There's a
I've been
beta
doing like
coming
little.
up. I'm just
been doing
saying.
finger push-ups, behind the back. I don't know.
Can't solve this kind of fight with a beta, Denny. We need the 1.0.
Yeah.
We don't need any beta excuses.
This is a full version rivalry.
I'll tell you what, the full version of Street Fighter 2 has been out since 1991. Let's go.
And I've beat you several times at it, so sure. All right. There we go. Denny. Who's your vote?
I'm gonna stick with Elden Ring. Brought me joy, even though there's been pain involved as well at the same time. Those boss fights.
A little PTSD, a little dopamine. It's all in there. Donovan.
I'm gonna go with Steve on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet here.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
This is tough. You can't both be the best there ever was. That's not how it works.
well, there's the Scarlet and the
Actually, you
Violet.
can.
So
In Scarlet and Violet, you can both be the best there ever was.
That's true. There's co-op, right?
There's
Great.
multiple champions.
Greg, who are you voting for?
Come back to me. I'm gonna use my day thing to come back to me.
I thought it was everyone got one. This would be your second one. But you know what, Greg? I'm a benevolent.
It was one a day previously.
I'm
But
benevolent. So, TJ.
We have a lot of good choices here.
do the right thing, TJ.
I will. I'm going to vote for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Ah!
I had a very good time catching Pokemon to the ambient music in that game. Like, it makes me so relaxed. And then the Toby Fox's music is awesome. And a lot of the other music is just great.
All right. Fair enough. Morgan.
Stick with my vote for Metal Hellsinger and then do an honorable mention for Sonic Frontiers. I also really like that soundtrack.
It's a solid soundtrack. Bill Lavoie.
There are times when these votes weird me out. This is one of those times because Metal Hellsinger, I feel like, is about to get ripped off and it's going to gross me out. The people are just going to vote Elden Ring for this and Sonic and whatever. I think Metal Hellsinger is the clear-cut winner. It's, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. Sam.
Elden Ring.
God damn. All right. Well, I'm voting for Metal Hellsinger. Let's see if we got any absentee votes. Asif did not have a vote for this one. And Ozzy, coming in clutch. Ozzy with the deciding vote of Metal Hellsinger is enough to push it to the W.
Ooh.
Best music
Wait,
of
I didn't vote yet.
2022. Oh, that's God damn it, Greg.
Well.
Damn it.
Look what
Damn it,
happens
right
here.
there.
Bigger mess than I
Look at
anticipated.
that.
Greggy. Yeah.
You know,
But is Greg gonna vote for Elden Ring though? I mean, come on.
no, fuck no. No.
Oh,
God, I hate that game.
Sam will
No,
remember
I'm gonna
this.
do.
Okay.
Can I finish?
Okay.
I'm gonna do Metal Hellsinger because that shit was super expensive and hard to pull off, and it's not easy to get those artists to agree to do shit like that. So yeah, Metal Hellsinger.
There we go.
There you
All
go.
right. Thank you, Greg. All right. Greg, the man who probably knows the least about music out of everyone here making the deciding vote on best music is beautiful, poetic justice, I feel. Best music of 2022 goes to Metal Hellsinger.